All right. Can everyone hear me? All right. So, yes, sir.
Sorry, that was a mistake.
All right. So, prior to this, just forget about the definition you're seeing on your screen. I would love to know what you guys, I know you guys must have heard of Power BI before. So, when you hear Power BI, what comes to mind? What comes to mind? Beatrice. Okay, that's our Beatrice.
Good evening, sir.
Yes.
When I hear Power BI, what comes to my mind is interactive dashboard, creating of dashboard.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Priscilla.
When it comes to Power BI, what comes to my mind is a dashboard used to create visualization for our data set.
Okay. Thank you very much. And Rachel.
Okay, good evening, sir.
Good
When I
evening.
hear of Power, what comes to my mind is business analytical tool for visualization.
All right. All right. Okay, so let's talk about it. So, from the definition here, you can see. So, Power BI is a business analytics service provided by Microsoft. It's called Microsoft Power BI. And what does it do? It offers interactive visualizations and business intelligence capabilities through an interface that is user-friendly enough for end users to interact with their own reports and dashboards. Power BI connects to a wide range of data sources and brings insights to life with its comprehensive set of tools. So, but are you guys fully aware that Power BI goes way beyond dashboards? Are you guys aware that Power BI goes way beyond dashboards?
No, sir.
All right. That's why we're here to talk about it. That's why we're here to talk about it. Let me open, I should have it. I should have a slideshow here. I honestly don't know how I lost. Okay, I know how I lost it. My laptop crashed in August, so I lost most of my files. I had a presentation prepared for this a couple of months ago. All right, so now, why Power BI, right? In fact, let me just tell you guys something. Excel is more or less the go-to tool for data analysis, simple data analysis, and all of that. But Power BI, I see Power BI in the coming years being that staple, right? Being that staple. So why? Because Power BI does some of the things, or most of the things that Excel does better, even though they're very similar. So why Power BI? Just like Excel, Power BI has a very user-friendly interface as well. It features an intuitive user interface that enables users to easily create and customize reports and dashboards without needing an extensive technical knowledge. It is even easier to build dashboards on Power BI than in Excel. Seamless integration. It integrates effortlessly with other products such as Excel and SQL Server, as well as various third-party data sources, making it a versatile tool for data analysis. we have real-time data access. The Power BI supports real-time data access and automatic updates, ensuring reports and dashboards are always current. So by the end of today, or probably by tomorrow, if you check the drive, you will see a second folder there titled Power BI that will house information like these notes and data sets I'll be using today going forward. The same drive. We have cost effectiveness. So the Power BI is cheap, and for the most part, you can use the free version, right? There are different pricing plans for more advanced feature, but it is basically cheap. It's free for the most part. Like most of you don't even need an account, a paid account to use Power BI. Again, I just found a way of getting a paid account for free a couple of days ago, and this one is easier than the Excel one, so you guys wouldn't have as much of a problem. You can see mine. So this will basically help you have what's it called, a Microsoft account that you can use to sign into your Power BI, and you can then publish your dashboards for the public to interact with and all of that. So I'll drop a link to that video in the group chat for you guys as well. Once you guys have installed it, you can follow the process and get yourself an account. I was thinking of giving you guys the video to get the thinking of giving you guys the video to get the 2024 version of Excel, but from the level of struggle I saw, like even till today, most of you or a lot of you have still not been able to install 21. The stress is not worth it. There's literally no much difference between 2021 and 2024. So that's why I just decided that there's no point. Rachel.
Please share that 2024.
It's just going to bring another sort of pandemonium.
Please, for me alone, sir. Please.
You don't need it. You actually don't need it. To be fair, you don't need it. I've not seen any change, any difference, or any upgrade yet. But let's see. I'll think about it.
I've not been able to install the 2021. No.
If you're not be able to install 2021, then you most definitely will not be able to install 2024. You will most definitely not be able to install 2024. But it's even harder. So that's where the issue is. That's why I just decided not to. Because you need to do some things. You need to start. You need to edit an XML file. You need to update the XML file. Then from there, you now need to copy out the activation key, and it's not worth it. But I'll drop it if maybe that one. If the 21 doesn't work for you, 24 might. But those of you that have 21, there is no need, unless you just want to be like you just want to have the latest tool, then you can. But there's no need. I've not seen any difference. The only difference I've seen is just this two-tone finish here, black and kind of like that. That's the only difference I've seen so far in both of them. And the fact that in my head I know I'm using the latest software, so that makes me feel good. But efficient wise, I've not seen any difference when it comes to performance. All right. So I've digressed. Let's get back in. I wish I was the one taking you guys SQL, because I enjoy teaching SQL more than even all of these other tools. Yeah. Okay. So we have the cost effectiveness, we have collaborative capabilities. It facilitates easy sharing and collaboration on reports and dashboard, both within and outside the organization, fostering a data-driven culture. Like I told you here, by having an account, you can share your dashboards. You guys can work together with different people. So basically building an avenue or a culture of teamwork. You have multiple people who can work together on the same project and share limited access to different areas. So it's also possible in Excel, but in most cases, it is used more in Power BI. So what are the strengths of Power BI? Number one, data connectivity. Remember, most of the things we'll cover here is also applicable in Excel. Like today, we'll learn how to get data directly from a web API. It's also possible here in Excel. Also possible in Excel. Right, to come here and I say get data, right? You can see you can get from a database. These are all of the databases you can get from. You can get from Oracle, you can get from SQL Server, Postgre, MySQL, IBM DB2, all of them. You can get from Azure. You can get from Power Platforms. You can get from. There are a lot of areas you don't necessarily have to get from what's it called, like an Excel file. You can get from the internet here as well. I click on this, it will ask you, a prompt will come up. There you can load data straight from a web API. You don't have to download it. So whenever that website refreshes or updates their data, it automatically affects and updates your reports and analysis as well. So we'll do this in Power BI, but bear it in mind also that it is applicable in Excel as well. Any questions so far? Any questions? Cool. All right. So now, data connectivity. Okay, Esther.
Sir, good evening. I want to ask, like, what's the difference between SQL and Excel? Can you use SQL for visualization and Power BI, like SQL, Power BI, I meant?
This is what SQL looks like. Sorry, I dragged in the wrong. Can you see? This is what SQL looks like. Is she there? The person that asked the question. It's all code. This is what it looks like.
Yeah, I'm here, sir.
Right. You can't use SQL to build dashboards or visualizations. It's there. The main purpose of SQL is to create, manage, create and manage databases, be able to add, remove, retrieve data, like retrieve and remove data from a database, and also be able to analyze data in a database. That is what they are there for. Well, that is what it's there for. And you guys will get to understand. You guys will get to understand more. You guys get to understand more when you get there. All right. We have advanced analytics. It offers advanced analytical features, including built-in AI capabilities, machine learning integration, and robust data transformation tools. We have customization. So it supports a wide range of built-in, not just built-in, but also custom visualizations, enabling users to create visually compelling and insightful reports. Security. It provides robust security features, including a row-level security, data encryption, and compliance with industry standards. We have community and support. It benefits from a large, active community and extensive support resources, including documentation, forums, and training materials. So these are the reasons, the strengths of Power BI, why you should choose Power BI and what Power BI is. I can go over it again. It's a really short intro. But now, installing Power BI is quite easy. There are two ways of doing that, right? There are two ways of doing that. It's quite easy. All you need to do is go to your store. For those using MacBook, well, unfortunately, I can't help you in this case. But if you're using a Windows laptop, just go straight to your App Store. It's loading. Go straight to your App Store. Just type in Power BI. And install Power BI Desktop. Click on Power BI Desktop. If you don't have it, instead of uninstall, you're going to see install here. Instead of open, you will see install there, rather. My network is a little bit down, slow. Yeah, what you're paying for, you're not paying for the Power BI software, rather you're paying for a license. So when you're not paying any money downloading, you can use it like this without any payments. But when it comes to some features that maybe using things like AI, the ability to share your reports with other people, collaborations and that, then you need to upgrade to a plan. Just like in Excel, you can use Excel without signing in. So it's loading. I don't know why it's taking this long to load. My network is quite strong, and I spoke to some. So you have something like this here, and you will see an option to download. Hit the download and just sit back and relax while it does this thing. It's going to download and install it for you without stress. So please, how many people here has installed Power BI on their laptops? The people raising hands, are you answering the question or you have questions to ask? Okay, let's do it like this. If you've installed Power BI, just raise up your hand. Let me know. People here. Let me see them. You've installed, not just installed. You have the latest version. I'll give you guys 1 minute. Let me know the amount of persons. Just 10 of you. Just 10 of you out of the 58 persons here. Okay, if you haven't, why? If you haven't, let me see your hand. If you haven't. All right, so it shows here the vast majority of you have not installed. So you can see it's quite easy. So while you're in this class, if you have enough data, it's roughly around 1 gig, 2 gig max. Just go to the App Store and do that, please. Just go to the App Store and then install it. Do that now before we continue. So that it'll be downloading. Hopefully by the end of this class, it must have installed. Just quickly do that, please, before we continue. If you have any question, let me know. There's a second way of doing this. There's also a second way of downloading it. You have to go to the website. There's a Power BI official website online. This is the easiest way, but you can go to the Power BI official website online. Just type Power BI download. All right? And to take you straight here, you can just click on this. And just hit this download here. It's going to download the application for you, then you install. Look at the size. Can you see? So it's roughly 527 megabytes, then you install it. So either you do it from the store or from the official website. From the store, you don't have to install it. It's going to just download and install itself. Here you have to download, then install it yourself. Any questions? Has anyone initiated the download? Ojo?
Please, sir, how do we check the version to know whether it's the latest? Because I've installed before, or do I just uninstall and install again?
How long ago?
This year, though, around July.
Yeah, that's not the latest. Let's go to the App Store. If it's not the latest, you will see an option to update. Just update straight from the store.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Yeah, the latest version should be, I think it is written here. The latest version, there's a code. There's a code here for the latest version. Can't see it here. Right. Okay, let's continue. Let's continue. So we're going straight into Power BI now. So this is what the Power BI interface looks like. Actually, it looks like this. When you open it, it looks like this. Then this is what the Power BI interface looks like. It looks kind of like Excel, right? So we'll talk about the ribbon. We'll quickly go through the ribbons and the panes. The ribbons, panes, and views. These are three things. We'll have the ribbons, we'll have the panes, we'll have the view. What is the ribbon, class? Inspire.
Okay, good evening, sir. I think the
Yeah,
ribbon, okay, the ribbons are the one that held the tabs like the file, the home tab, the insert tab, and all these tabs.
Okay. All right. Does anyone here knows what a pane is in Power BI? A pane, P-A-N-E. Does anyone know what a pane is? No one.
No, sir.
All right. So anywhere you hear ribbons, right? Anywhere you hear ribbons. Ribbons basically means, see here, mine is collapsed. Let me pull it down. The ribbon is at the top of your software that highlights or shows all of the basic functionalities in a software. That's what a ribbon is. Benedita.
Good evening. Good evening, sir. So, I was in a noisy place. I wanted to answer the question. Can I go ahead?
Yeah, except your voice is so low.
Can you hear me now?
Slightly better. Slightly better, but not really.
Okay. The pane is where you can find the reports. The reports.
What?
I said the pane is where you can find the reports, or where you can create your dashboard.
Okay. That's not it, but not bad. Not too bad. I don't know why your mic is that low, though, but it is. It's very low. It's not too bad. It's not too bad. Okay. So let's take a look because they want to go straight into PowerQuery with the second R. Well, go straight into PowerQuery. All right, so this is the ribbon, right? We'll have a couple of functions here. Consider, right? So I'll quickly go through the basic ones here. So in the home tab, we'll have the paste, copy, cut, format painter. This is self-explanatory. This is to paste what you've copied. This is to cut out an item. This is to copy an item. And this is the format painter. So this is basically your Control V. This is your Control X. This is your Control C. You don't need to do anything here. So the get data is basically this three here. In fact, up until here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is your data source. This is how you can link your data to Power BI. One minute. Let me switch my screen. Because on the big screen, this Power BI is usually so small. Is this something better now?
Yes, it is better.
But this is so uncomfortable for me. I'm not used to using this small screen to work. All right, but till I hand, we'll just use this. We'll just use this. So you can see, so from get data to here, you can see there's a small demarcation here. So this, everything inside here, inside this data, basically ways you can link your data to Power BI. From here, sorry, you can see you can link from Excel, from the data lake, from SQL Server. You can manually input the data versus your recent sources you've linked to Power BI in my case. Look at them here. You can do all of this here. Then we have the transform and refresh. This basically does take you to Power Query. If I click on it, it will open a new panel called a Power Query editor, which will be introduced today too. This is what Power Query looks like. There's nothing here. That's why it's blank. We'll come back here. Then we'll have the new visual. We'll have the new visual. If I click on this, it's going to prompt a new visual. You can see. I click on this. It's a new text box. Here I can choose different visuals. Like if I want to import a visual from an app store or from my downloaded archives, I can do that here. We'll have all of this. Just forget about this for now. We'll come into all of them. In the insert, is there any difference here? Yes, you can create a new page, you can create new visuals, you can use Q&As, the composition tree, narratives, text boxes, buttons, shapes, yada yadas, right? So this is what they look like. We'll cover all of them when we need them extensively to avoid overload of information. So this is what the ribbon of Power BI looks like. Now, I told you there are panes and there are views. So let's talk about the panes. So the panes, by default, there are basically 3 panes in Power BI. We have the filter pane, we have the visualization pane, and we have the data pane. Can you see the 3 of them? We have the filter pane, visualization pane, and the data pane. So the filter pane, like the name entails, is used to filter your data. The visualization pane, this is where you basically build your dashboard. I click here, boom, and see I have the visual. I click here, I have another visual, right? This is where you build your dashboard. This is where you format and work on your canvas. Then we have the data pane. This is where your data that you load will be housed. When we load our first data, you will see them here. Just like they will look in pivot tables. You see them here. Any questions? I'm just trying to familiarize you guys with the Power BI interface. Does anyone have any question? Wow.
I have a question as regards the pin that you just mentioned. Is it because we can fold the filter, visualization, and data? That is why they're being referred to as pin.
I don't know. What's the English definition of panes? Let's see. Let's quickly Google the definition of panes. English. So I'll go panes. What are panes? So you can see here, so a pane is a piece or section or side of something, right? Such as a framed sheet of glass in a window or door. So basically a piece, section, or a side of something. So can you see here in Power BI, this is a side, this is a piece, a side of something. That I'm guessing why they're referred to as pane. So it literally means the English definition of what they are, right? I didn't even know that was the definition, but I just know these are panes. And there are three of them here: the filters, the visualizations, and the data. So one person should tell me what this filter does, because I just said it now. Let's hope we're on the same page. What does the filter do? The filter pane, what does it do? Temitope. Temitope. I'm still confused because I've switched my screens and it's confused. It's still muscle memory is always referring to the secondary screen as where I work and the primary screen as where I view. But I'm adjusting. Lawa, since we can't hear Temitope, there's no time.
Okay, the filter pin is to filter data.
All right, thank you very much. How about the visualization? Anyone? Let's go with someone else. So heritage.
The visualization pane is to add in charts to the report and also to edit the parts. Can you hear me?
I'm with you.
Yeah, so that's what.
All right, thank you very much. Then finally, what does the data pane do? Priscilla.
So for the data pane, you use it to load data where the data is stored, where the data is.
Okay. All right. So these are the major panes. There are more. There are more, but those other ones are they come when you call on them functions. When those functions are active, they come. But by default, these are the three panes. So let's talk about the view, right? So we have three major views in Power BI. We have three major views in Power BI. Three major views in Power BI. Do I have it here? Let me see. Yes, I have it here. So we'll have the report view, which is the main workspace for designing and arranging your visualizations. It allows you to add, edit, and format visuals on multiple pages. So what is your report view? What you're looking at right now is your report view. You can see it, the report view. Can you see? This is where you basically build your reports and dashboards. Yeah, I think you're the only one who can see the screen. Refresh your network. This is where you can build your reports / dashboards. Yeah. Then secondly, we'll have the data view. This displays your data in a tabular format, useful for inspecting and making minor modifications. So what we have here is the table view or the data view. So if I click on it, this is what it looks like. Again, I've not added any data yet, so it's empty. But when we add data, you're going to see. And finally, we have the model view. So this provides a graphical representation of your data model, allowing you to create, manage, and understand relationships between them. So this is what your data model looks like. This is what your model page looks like. All right? This is what your model page looks like. Are we together, class? So let me quickly import the pizza sales data. Let me show you how easy it is to start building, analyzing, and building dashboards in Power BI before going there. So I'll come here. It's an Excel workbook. So I'll go Excel workbook connect. Should go desktop. Let's go to pizza sales. But this is also as an opportunity on how you can load data using Excel. So if I were to come here and I select, let's see, Maxi Boku. This is the table I want, right? I don't want the analysis because the analysis is our. So I want this. And I go transform data. If I click on transform data, it's going to load it. It's going to take us to PowerQuery. It's going to take us to PowerQuery. But I don't want to work with PowerQuery. I don't want to work with PowerQuery, so I'll just close and load and just build 2 or 3 visuals in under 2 minutes. Chiamaka.
Hi, good evening, sir.
Okay.
Sir, please, is it possible to change your background to maybe either white? Because the black is too dark.
The black is it's what my eyes are very sensitive. So I've
Even
tried.
me, so I'm trying to strain the eye before I can see anything. But it's
Let's
okay.
go back to let's go back to the video. It should be clearer there. I have tried to push it to my primary
Okay.
my laptop screen here.
I know.
So you can see here the data that I just uploaded. Can you see them? Can you see them here? If I come here to the table view or the data view, you can see our data the way you can see it, right? The way it looks in Excel. I come to the model view. This is our model here. This is our model. But model comes in when you're working with more than one table for an analysis. All right, so let me quickly view the visual. So one of the questions they asked us there was which pizza category makes the most money, right? What do? I can just come here and I'll grab this. I'll grab this here. I'll say, okay, fine. Let's grab our category. Category, where are you? And I'll drag, say, where's the revenue? Total price. I'll drag or drop it here. And I'll change this, yeah, sum. It makes sense. And you can see how fast we'll build this visual here. And see how fast we built it. Very simple. And once you over on them, you can see their respective. If I say, okay, fine. I come here and I say between weekdays and weekends, I can drag the weekends here. I will drag the quantity, drop it here. Quantity. Right? We built a visual. Who won't allow you to focus? Madam. Favor, yes.
Good evening, sir. Please,
Yeah, good
I
evening.
want to know, is it safe to say that the Power BI is mainly for data visualization? Is there any room for calculations here?
That was literally the first thing I stated when I introduced you guys into Power BI. I said Power BI is just not about visualization. It's a lot more than visualization. That was literally the first thing I led the class with. And we are going to explore all of them. So I want to create like a card. You learn this in depth. You want to create a card, you can just come here, click on it, come here, click on a card, click on a card. If they ask you, okay, how much revenue did we generate? You drag total price, you put it here. Right? Put it here, you come here, you go total revenue generated. I see. Checking out. You've created a KPI. We've created a KPI. Now, obviously, these things, they need editing to look like, this. We need some core dashboard designs principle to look like something like this. Like an example, this. But the core fundamentals are still the same. Can you see? Any questions? Any questions? I will proceed. All right. So Power BI, like I told you, Power BI is divided into, here's my notes. I wrote it down somewhere. 1 minute. All right. So Power BI is divided into 4 parts, right? We'll have the data discovery, we'll have the data modeling, we'll have the data visualization, and we'll have the data sharing. We'll have the data discovery, data modeling, data visualization, and data sharing. And that is the way. So basically, in the lack of better words, or in, I think I used that expression wrong, but by the case, most people would say it starts off with data wrangling, data modeling, data analysis, data visualization. These are the 4 parts, right? Data wrangling, data modeling, data analysis, data visualization. So for the discovery part of data analysis of Power BI, we have 2 things. We'll have the data source and we'll have PowerQuery. So what is our data source? Our data source is the get data function. The get data function. So I've just quickly showed you guys how to import an Excel file, but I'm going to quickly show you how to also import data from a web API. So if I were to go online and I go to, say, data.gov, for those of you, you can use data.gov, you can use Cargo to get data sets to practice. So if I go to data.gov and I just pick up any random data sets, let me just go data set by organization. Right, so let's quickly enter any random. Let's go Board of Federal Reserves. All right, so I'll just pick a random data set here. So let's assume, okay, this just has a JSON. I don't want to work with a JSON data. Rather, I would love to work with either a CSV and an Excel data. All right, let me just go to the most viewed data sets. I'll just pick the first data here. So now, this is how you connect your data to a web API. So now it's prompting you to download the CSV, which is a comma separated value, right? So instead of downloading, what do? You right click, you click on copy link address. You come to Power BI, you say get data, and you click from web, right? You can also link your data to, I told you, databases, data lakes, data warehouses, websites, Excel, JSON, XML. There are many. I'm going to show you two ways, the traditional ways of working with Excel files and from the internet. So this is how you link your data to a web API. So we're going to paste that link we copied, right? I'll click OK. Can you see? Hold on. I think I've used that link before. Let me copy a fresh one. So that API is already, I think the structure is already there in my Power BI. Let me use a different data set. Let's go, okay. Let's go this, let's go FDIC field bank. Let's use this one. Come here, right click, copy link address, get data, web, and I'll paste it there. I'll click OK. It's going to show connecting. Okay, same thing. So this is going to pop up, right? This is going to pop up, and you will say, based on the entire data sets, data type detection, what is the delimiter? What does the data set? What is there inside the data sets? I think this data set is empty. Okay. Yeah, this data set is empty. It's empty. Let's look for another one. Let's look for another one here. Let's go motor vehicle collision. Again, the same thing. I've done this process multiple times, so by now you should know what to do. Web. I'll paste. I'll click OK. Good. This works. This is working good. So now ask you, do you want to connect? You click on connect. It's to say waiting for data.ct, blah, 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 to load. So this is connecting to the web API. You can see it here. It's connecting to the web API that houses this data. And within a few seconds, depending on how fast your internet speed is and how powerful your computer is, and also the size of the data as well, should connect within the next few seconds. And just like that, we have our data. Can you see? Maybe I click load, it's going to load it straight into Power BI. I don't need to download. It's connected straight to the website. While that is loading, let's attempt doing the same thing in Excel. Come to data. I come to data. I go from web. I paste the same thing here. I click OK. That's loading. Let's see. 'Cause Consider it's exactly the same process. So can you see the same thing here? This is also Excel. And do the same thing we just did in Power BI in Excel as well. Let's check back on our Power BI. Is this still, why is it still loading? Still loading. The data is probably big, and Power BI draws a lot of resources from your computer. Priscilla Adebayo, while we are still waiting, your question.
Okay, sir. So my question is that this data we are loading from web now, is there a way they were loading to Power BI? Is there a way the data can be cleaned or something? Because I noticed there's some null and so is there a way we can clean the data from Power BI before working on the data and using it for our visualization? Or we have to load to Excel first, then I don't know.
Let it finish loading.
Okay, sir.
What kind of big? I don't go carry big data set. Still loading. This thing should be up to 100,000 rows then, or this rate. Who want give me 32 gig RAM? Around 8 gig RAM are the user. Yeah, my laptop. I'm using a Core i7 7th Gen Core i7 on an SSD. So I'm literally running Postgre. I'm literally running Postgre. You can see Postgre is running SQL Server, two RDBMSs are running at the same time. Still have my Power BI, my Meets, my Play Store, WhatsApp. I have a page open here, another set of page open here, Excel, Word, PDF, Chrome, and it's working very well. So just get a good system. That's all. Still not near, it's not even 20% as fast as I would want my laptop to be, but it's not bad. We went, let me see the size. Let me see if there's a size information in that here. Because I hope we're not going to load 1 million roll of data. If not, we'll stay here to this class finish. And there's no information on the size. You can see the data, right? This was first created in 2020 and it was updated October 2024. So whenever there are updates like this, it's going to refresh your work. So that is one of the benefits of connecting to an API. This thing is still loading. No? I'll cancel it. It's too. Oh my god. I'm actually going to cancel it because we are loading something very, very big. So let me cancel it. All right. Let me cancel it. Let me load a, yeah, from data.gov. I'll load a familiar data set. I'm used to the same process. I'll go to web. Then I'll paste, this should be it. All right. This one is not that big. So that you can see that you can use, look at it. So I click on transform data to take me straight to PowerQuery. So the person that asked the question, you can see that I can clean, I can analyze, I can do whatever I want to these data that I linked straight from the internet. Can you see it? Can you see? So you can do anything you want to do here. So that is how you link your data to multiple sources. So I'm going to delete all of this, right? I'm going to delete all of this. I'm going to close and apply. So I told you Power BI was, that's how you also delete data you've loaded into your Power BI. It's loading what's done, everything here will be gone. So you guys are asking what APIs are. That one is more of a software development, web development term. But let's read about it together. What are web APIs? The web API stands, or an API stands for Application Programming Interface, where a web API is an application programming interface for the web, right? A browser API, oh God, there's no real definition that make you guys understand what an API is. All right, because of time, I'll send the definition to the group, the detailed definition to the group. All right, you can see that I've deleted all of the data I loaded here before. So now, like I told you, Power BI is divided into 4 parts. What are the 4 parts, if anyone can remember? I told you 4 parts. I gave you 2 different 4 parts, but they're closely related. I'm on this name, Christiana.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Data discovery, data modeling, data visualization, and data sharing.
Okay. Thank you very much. That's correct. That's correct. Also, this is they confuse me. Also, the second 4 types I told you. Adebayo.
Data wrangling, data
Yes.
modeling, data analysis, and data visualization.
Yeah, that is how me personally I broke Power BI into. So we have the data wrangling. What is data wrangling? Just basically cleaning and transformation of data, right? Then we'll have the data modeling. After data modeling, we have data analysis. Then finally, you have your reports and visualization. Any question? Because we're about to dive into data wrangling now. Using Power BI. Okay. So what is data wrangling? Like I told you, data wrangling is the process of cleaning and transforming your data into the best possible format for analysis. This is basically referring back to the data analysis lifecycle, which we talked about in the beginning of Excel. Who can remember that? For before you would do any analysis, you need to first of all clean your data. You need to transform it, make sure it's in its optimal state before you even begin any form of analysis. Like I told you, Power BI is not about data visualization alone. This is where PowerQuery comes in. And many of you have heard of PowerQuery before. Okay. This is where PowerQuery comes. So PowerQuery is a standalone section of both Power BI and Excel. Everything you're learning from here, it is also applicable in Excel. I've showed you how to link your Excel to other sources. I did that. Right? I did that. So everything you're doing here is also, this Power Query is also applicable in Excel as well. I'll show you how to access both of them in Power BI and in Excel. And today we'll clean a small data set, then tomorrow we'll clean a major data set, then we'll go into data modeling. Then round up data modeling on Sunday, then I'll hand over to my co-facilitator. All right. So Power Query is a very powerful tool that handles data cleaning and transformation. It is the best tool when it comes to data cleaning. If you are to ask any data analyst, what tool do you prefer or what tool do you use when cleaning a data? 10 out of 10, they'll tell you the best tool to clean the data is Power Query. And the beauty about Power Query is that it is both available in Excel and Power BI as well. So this is how you access Power Query. So let's first of all import our data sets. I'll come to get data. I will go to Excel workbook. Go to download. Don't worry, I'll update the data for you guys. Anybody who just carry my laptop, they don't say this guy and a data analyst because they're just Excel files everywhere you look in this computer. So what is data cleaning class and what are the major techniques that involves or that occurs when cleaning a data? What is data cleaning? Matthias. Let's start with Matthias. Goodness.
Yeah, good evening.
Good evening.
I think data is the process of removing errors from your data. That's cross-checking your work and removing errors from your data. And I think you can use, at least in Excel, you can use the filtering function, like filter the data to remove the unwanted parts of the data.
Okay. Thank you very much. Let's hear from Beatrice. Beatrice. All right. Let's see the other 5 more persons whose hands are up. Lawal.
To me, data cleaning is the process of removing unnecessary item inside your data set after confirming from your supervisor or going through the data to cross-check to know if they are needed or they are not needed.
Okay. Thank you very much. Let's also hear from Chisom Deborah.
Okay, good evening, sir.
Yes.
So for me, I think data cleaning, during data cleaning, you try to check your data set, get familiar with your data set, try to know if there are data that are not complete, if there are duplicates, um, then if you found duplicates or empty cells, you try to like find out from your stakeholder if you should remove them or why the data are missing.
Okay. That's also good. Let's hear from Beverly as well.
Did you call me?
Yeah, you're the next person in the queue.
Oh, okay. Yes, data cleaning is the process of removing of inaccurate consistency and errors in the data formats, and which includes changing of data types to the correct format, removing of duplicates, yes, and removing of any errors.
Okay. All right. That's also good. Let's also hear from the last person. Let's hear from Inspire before we continue.
Okay, for me, data cleaning address the issue of inconsistency in data. It address the issue of duplicates and also address the issue of blank spaces in our data sets, and also address the issue of incorrect data type, like adjusting it to the right data type instead of having, there are some data type that we have numbers instead of having them as text, like the data type will be of in a wrong format. So addressing the issue of those kind of stuff in our data set will make it to be suitable for better analysis.
All right. Thank you very much. All right. So this is where Power Query comes in. Like I told you guys. All right. Power Query is the best tool that is available out there for a data analyst to clean the data sets. You saw how I was able to access Power Query using Power BI. Just click on transform data, or if you want to load the data, when you click on the load, instead of clicking on load, you click on transform data. It will take you to Power Query. For Excel, it's also similar. All you need to do in Excel is you go to data, it will ask you where do you want to get the data from. Do you want to get the data from text or a CSV from the web, table/range? Since I don't have anything here, I'll just get the data from file. Let me just go to say the pizza. We're going to import it. All right, we're going to import it, and it's loading. I can select the pizza what I want here. These are pivot tables. This is what we want. This is what we want. I'll just click on transform data, and just like that, we'll be taken straight to Power Query in Excel. So everything you're doing here is going to work exactly as it's working here in Power BI, in Excel as well. And this is Power Query as well. Can you guys see it? So as you're learning Power BI, you're also learning new techniques that you should also practice in your Excel as well. This is all of the things you're learning here from things like PowerQuery to data modeling to DAX. All of those things you're learning are applicable to Excel as well, one-to-one. So keep that at the back of your mind. So this is PowerQuery in Excel. So it's here in Excel, it's there in Power BI as well. All right, so we'll have these here. So I'll quickly go over the interface of PowerQuery in Excel in Power BI. So you can see here that PowerQuery is divided into 4 parts. We'll have the main part here. We'll have this. We'll have this. And we'll have this. Right? So what is this top part called?
Ribbon.
Is the ribbon. So we'll have this query. This part of the Power BI, of the Power Query, basically shows you the tables that have been imported. You can rename them if you want. You can rename them if you want. You can order them if you want. So basically like a navigator to go through all of the tables you have in your Power Query. This here, like the name entails, is just basically like the Excel place. This is where you interact with your data. This is the ribbon, which houses a ton of functionalities. Then we have what is the most important, in my opinion. You see here, this right-hand side. You can also rename and check the properties of each of your tables. But the most important thing is that there's a fail-safe here in Power Query, in the sense that every step you take will be recorded here and you can revert back to the previous steps. Say, for example, you made a mistake, you deleted something. It's going to be recorded here and you can always revert back. So there's room for mistake, there's room for experiments. I wouldn't suggest it, but there's room for mistakes and experiments, in the sense that if you have made mistakes, you can easily come here to revert that mistake. All together. So we're going to focus mainly on the ribbons, because this is where most of the functionalities are. We're going to quickly clean the data set. This remaining 29 minutes we'll have here today. This will just give you guys like a soft landing into Power Query and data cleaning in general. And tomorrow we'll clean a proper data set, which will also learn more Power Query functionalities that will move into data modeling. All right, so you can see here, let's quickly go through some of the functions here. So the close and apply, basically, the close and apply, just basically like the name entails, close and apply. It closes the Power Query and applies all of the changes you've made to your data set. For the new source, this is where you can import data. The recent sources is basically a list of all of the sources you've used to import data previously. Consider a new source here is basically the ability to import more data if you want. Are we together, class? Are we together? All right. We can manually input data. We have parameters, which we'll talk about when we get to the analytical phase of things. So let's just go dive into it. So the task for today is we want to convert this, right? We want to convert this into something like this. I see. We want to convert this. Consider it's dirty. You can see all values. You can see that it is not structured properly. I see it. I see there's not random more values everywhere. and it just looks off. So we're going to convert this. We're going to convert this into this. This you can now analyze. This you can now work with because this is clean. So let's kick off. As we're kicking off, I'll be showing you the functions. So now, one of the first things we need to get rid of, right, is null values, right? Are we together? Null values. So how do you get rid of null values? There are multiple ways of getting rid of null values. If I come here and I right click, there are a lot of options here. Most of which are here, but there is a way of, so you can remove duplicates, you can remove errors, you can transform your data, which we'll talk about today, tomorrow. So now, for here, there are multiple. I can come here and I'll say, okay, I want to uncheck the null, and I'll click OK. Can you see? And just like that, we've gotten rid of some of the null values. Right? We've gotten rid of some of the null values here. So you right click and you uncheck the null. Right? Let me put it back in. That is one way. Another way is coming here, right click, you click on the drop down. You already know what this drop down is. It's the same thing in Excel as well. This is your sort and filter. But in PowerQuery is there by default. I hope you guys have not forgotten this.
No,
Class,
sir.
are you seeing the importance of this thing? Something that was learned over a month ago, you can see it having a comeback again.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Everything I've taught you guys, please always keep them at the back of your mind. So you can uncheck, you can filter out, like I did before, to get rid of some of the columns here. Or you can come here, let me put them back. You can come here and just straight up say remove empty. And you see, once I click on remove empty, it's going to delete all of the empty cells. I see that there are no null values here. Rachel. Was that a mistake, Rachel?
Yes, it was. Sorry.
All right. So the next thing we need to do, if you notice very well, you will notice that there's something wrong with the headers. Can you see? So instead of Power BI to use these as the actual headers, it came up with its own names, generic names. We'll have column 1, column 2, column 3, like that. Meanwhile, we have the headers there. All together. So what do you do in situations like this? You use the function called, I go to home, this function called use first rows as headers. I see it here, use first rows as headers. Immediately I click on this, I'll click on use first rows as headers to automatically arrange itself. Can you see? Susan.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Please, in what situation do we get to use the delete? Because I know deleting values will temper with our analysis, the results.
What do you mean by what? Can you expatiate further when you say delete?
You actually just said we can delete the null values.
Yes. So now, when it comes to data, or not just data, but everything in general, context is key, right? Context is key. you should know that when to delete. You should know when not to delete. Now, the reason why I deleted the null values here is because what we had here, I've not removed all the null. Look at null values here in the numbers. Can you see them? Let me go back. Let me go back to where I was initially, the null values. You can see that I'm going back. Now, the reason why I deleted the null values here, if you look closely, you will see that these first two lines, everything attached to it is null. Can you see? This null is the subtotal, right? This null is also the subtotal. So if I come here and I want to filter in just the null, take a look at it. Can you see what is attached to it? It's just the totals, and we don't need the totals. We don't need the totals, so I'm going to delete. We don't need the subtotals. It's going to mess up our analysis when we start aggregating and performing our statistical analysis. I'm going to delete them. That was why I took out null values. Now, when it comes to numbers, there are two ways of treating null values when it comes to numbers, number columns. There are two ways. But before you do anything, always revert back to your stockholder. Always revert back to the person who gave you the data. Right? Please, ma'am, please, sir. Why cleaning the data? Why preparing the data for analysis? I found out that in so and so columns, there are some null values there. Is it there on purpose? Is it there by mistake? What do we do? Always communicate. Communication is pivotal. Right? Now say, okay, fine. If it's by mistake, they will say, okay, let us trace it back to the people that computed the data. Let's see if we can get to the original records. Then you don't really have to do anything. But if they say, okay, fine, we can't find a way of rectifying or knowing if it's a mistake or not, then there are two ways of going about null values. You can either delete those columns or you can fill out those cells with what? Does anybody know what you fill them out with? You can either delete or you can fill them out with something. Anyone? If you're working with empty cells. Beverly.
For numerical data, I can fill them out with the median.
Okay. Yes, you can fill them out with the median. Now, when do you use what? So if the data that is empty or null is, let's say, under 5 to 10% of the overall sample size, then you can delete. But what if the null values there are like 15, 20%, and you delete it? Then you're introducing bias. Then you're reducing the sample size, which will reduce the comprehensiveness of your data. Then in this case, you have to go with the median of the columns to fill out those null values. Why are we going with the median? Why are we not going with the mean? Why are we not going with the mode? Anyone? Does anyone know why we're going with the median? Okay, Beverly.
I think it's because the median is it's not biased. When you arrange your data in order, the middle number is the median, but for the mean can be higher than the median. I don't know if I'm putting it correctly.
Okay, the idea is there, but the simple answer to that question is medians are not affected by outliers, whereas the mean can be affected by an outlier and the mode as well. So medians are not affected by outliers. That's why when you want to, and since it's the measure of central tendency, it can help add to the story, even though it's not the actual numbers or figures that are there. Any question? Inspire.
Okay, what I wanted to ask that you said if we have some we have an empty space in our data set,
and we can use the media to filter them out. Like, how are we going to do that? Because I'm kind of
not filter.
eh?
So I saw when you're working with columns that are number based,
Is
you
what
can use the median to fill, not filter, fill out those empty cells.
fill.
Yes.
Okay, how are we going to go about that? Like, how are you going to use the median to fill the empty space?
I calculate the median now.
Empty
You
cell.
calculate the median, then you fill it. You fill it up. You filter out the empty spaces, then you fill it up. Calculate the median of a cell. I told you guys how to calculate median in Excel. I can remember vividly. So you calculate the median in Excel, calculate the median, then fill it up.
Okay, like the result we got for the median, that is what we are going to fill to the empty cells, right?
Yes.
Okay, sir.
All right. So let me use let's clean this table. Let's clean this one rather than the first one. So the same thing occurs here. I want to use the first row as my header. What function do I use, class? Susan.
Use the first row as header function.
All right. I'll come here. I'll use the first row as my header. Use the first row as my header. Now you can see here that will have an entire column that is empty. So the next thing I want to do is I want to get rid of this column here. All right. This is how you delete. This is how you delete columns in Power BI, PowerQuery specific. Remember, all of these things here are applicable to Excel as well. I can right click and I can say remove. Right? I can right click and I'll say, if I click on remove, the column is gone. We don't need it. It's an empty column. Right? It's an empty column. Also, class, there's a difference between null and blank. Does anyone know the difference between null values and blank values? You can see here we have blank and we have null. Does anyone know the difference between null and blank? Lawal.
I would say non-valued are missing values or incorrect value, while blank means there's nothing inside. Null means maybe they forgot or maybe there was an error while inputting it for me.
All right, first assignment for Power BI. Everyone should do research on what null and blank values are. What are the similarities? What are the differences? Right? Okay. So I'm going to delete this. Like I said, I can right click and click on remove. I could also come to remove columns here, right? Come here and I'll say remove columns. Can you see? It's also gone. So I've deleted that column. So the next thing I want to do is I want to remove empty, like I did before. So I'll come here and I'll click on remove empty. And we've gotten rid of, okay, it's still there. So what do I do? I uncheck the null and the blank, and I click OK. Is it still there? It's gone, right? Can you see? It's gone. So the next thing I want to do right now is I want to get rid of, again, the grand total. Can you see? I'll come here, I'll right click, and I will remove. I'll remove. So we have something like this. Now, there's something I told you guys. If you can remember, I told you guys, I mentioned on pivoting. Who can remember what I told you guys on pivoting is? I mentioned on pivoting when we were working with Excel. I showed you guys 2 SQL codes, the difference between both by when I unpivoted the data. Who could remember? Inspire.
Okay, if I could remember, he said when you is it pivot or pivot that it will change it from a long data to a wide data set. If I'm not wrong, like
All right.
I don't. Okay.
Yes. So you're correct. You can see here this is in a wide data format. Look at. Let me show you guys. You guys worked with the. Where is the? Where are you? Let me see the index match, right? We want to use the index match. And I told you guys, this table here, you're seeing, and this table, they are the same thing, right? I told you guys. This table and this table, they are the same thing. Why did I say they are the same thing, class? Inspire.
Oh, I think it's because they have the same content. Like we have the chocolate type, the country, and the value, but it's just that the way they are arranged is different. This one is arranged in a 3 columns, but that has a wide range of the more than like it's just the arrangement that differs.
So which one is the long format and which is the wide format?
This one is the long format. This one, this index and match advanced 2. Why this one is a wide format?
Thank you very much. So when you're working with data in Excel, it is always good to set up your data. Most cases, it is better and more efficient to set up your data in a long format compared to a wide format. Why? Because say if they were to ask me what is the total revenue generated from all of these cookies across all of these countries, all I need to do is to come here. I'll go equal to sum, right? I'll go equals to sum. I hope you guys have not forgotten aggregate functions in Excel. And you can see here that I'm working with just one column to get the total revenue generated, which is 702 million. Now, in a wide format, if I were to ask the same question, instead of working with one column, I will now be working with about 5 or 6. I'm working with 5 columns. And the more columns you work with, the more complex things becomes. You will not say that I will have to now work with 5 columns instead of 1 to still get that 702 million. Can you see? So now, in order for you to transform, because I told you data cleaning and transformation, that's what data wrangling is. It's not just about cleaning. You also need to change the structure of your data set. So in order for us to gain this structure we are looking at, right? We need to transform this data. So we are going to unpivot this data from a wide format to a long format. So what do? I'll click on this. I'm going to highlight all 4 of this because I want to combine all of these revenues into. I want to break that down into 2 columns. One column will house the month, one column will house the revenue. So I'll come to transform. I'll come to on pivot columns, right? And I will say on pivot columns. Can you see what happened here? So now it has been converted from a wide format to a long format, which is easier for analysis. And call this products. I'll call this products. We'll call this month. And I'll call this revenue. I'll call this revenue. Right? Asha. Asia. I don't know. Asia. The person whose hand is up, please. All right. Any question? Any questions? So that is what the pivot column does. Inspire.
Okay, so I just want to ask something like the way you did the pivoting to unpivot the table, like, is there another way to do it? Like maybe clicking on the I thought they said we can do it through transpose option. I don't know. I'm just asking.
There's always multiple ways of doing it. You can also use the transpose as well. You can see transpose function, it treats rows as column and column as rows, but the best way is to use the pivot and unpivot. Right?
Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah, you can also use transpose as well. So we still need a little bit of cleaning, because if we come here, we're seeing what are we seeing? We're seeing a grand total, right? So we don't want this grand total here. So I'll come here and I'll uncheck the grand total and I'll click on OK. And just like that, we've turned our data from what it was you can see from what it was before is now looking like this, close to this. Okay. I think I made a mistake on that on pivoting. Let me check something. No, I didn't. Okay. All right. Please, any questions? Any questions? Adedayo.
Okay, good evening, sir. Not related to this though.
Okay.
After downloading, do we just install, or is there any processing to
What way did you go? What way
I
did you go
downloaded
with
from
what?
Microsoft Store.
It should install by itself.
Okay, and so we are just good to go, nothing else.
Yeah, you're good to go. Once it's done, if it shows that it is completely installed, then all you need to do is basically just search for it in your search bar, and it should be there for you to. Yeah.
All right, thank you very much.
All right, Rachel. Rachel. Sorry, Benedicta Raphael. Why do I always call you Rachel?
Okay, sir. So sorry, it's not related to this. I actually have an issue accessing the link, like most of us, because the last 3 classes we had, I've been being unable to access the link. So I tried using other people's phone to log in and all that. I've tried using my laptop. I've used Chrome, I've used Opera Mini, I've even used Edge, and it's not working. So I don't think this is actually from us, because if so many people are having that same issue, that means I don't know, maybe you can help us look into it.
What link?
The attendance link.
Okay, the attendance. Okay, so
Yes.
I'm not in charge of the attendance. Just reach
So
out to
for
me.
that attendance, I think because most times over 70 persons are filled attendance, it's just like 10 or 5 persons that are complaining about attendance. And I noticed most times is either your network or your browser, or try it in another person's phone, because I don't know why it's happening to some persons lately.
So, okay, so I have actually tried that. I've even asked someone to send me a Google Form link, like two people, and then they did the same, and I was able to access the link.
I don't know why it's not working for you guys.
How long has this been an issue?
Last 3 classes we had.
For a few persons actually, because let me check the back end and see how many people have filled that form.
Okay.
Just hold on.
All right. You can see how look at how I transformed this purchase overview in less than 2 minutes to look like this. You can see them. In this case, now it's good for analysis. Okay, Ajayi, I need to be gone. I have another class in a minute time. But let me take one more question. Ajayi, Abigail, that'll be the last question. All of these things will go over them when we clean the main data set tomorrow. So no
Okay,
problem.
sir. So, sorry, it's not related to this actually. I want to like ask, is it possible for someone to download Microsoft 2021 version on a Core i3's system?
To be fair, right? The best thing you can do for your laptop, just convert it to an SSD. Even if it's a Core i3, it should be decent. This one I'm opening 5-7 apps at the same time now. The only thing I changed was I moved from from hard drive to SSDs. Once you convert to an SSD, your laptop becomes 20 times faster, automatic, irrespective of your what's it called, your processor. So SSD is maybe 128 gig SSD is around 14,000. So it's not too expensive. It's expensive because the 500 gig SSD is around maybe 50K plus. You get. So it's really expensive. It's like 2 or 3 times the price of hard drives, but it's good for you. And I highly recommend it, especially this Power BI. Please, if you don't have FSD, just try and convert if you have the funds. Instead of buying a new laptop, just take it, give them some money. Tell them even if the lowest option of 128 gig, just convert to an SSD and your life will become a whole lot easier.
Thank you, sir. But what particular type of SSD do you suggest? The gig? Do you suggest I convert to?
If money is no option, just go for a terabyte, but I'll put it back about 100K. You know, if money is no option, but if money is an option, which is if money is a problem or an issue or something you take into consideration, then 256 is the perfect size.
Okay.
256 is around 30,000 naira. Around
And
35,
then I'll be
30.
able to install the 2021 version.
Yeah, right now